The essence of government is to protect life and properties of its citizens. But this can only be achieved where there is the right policy that is pro the people. Hello dear, thank you for joining us on Political Affairs today on Karma TV. My name is Chris Jacobs, and joining me today to further the conversation on the state of the nation is Baba Zare. He is the Zonal Vice President, NUJ Northeast, and as well, he has been a member of the pen profession for more than 2 decades. It's a pleasure to have you on Political Affairs.
It's a pleasure, sir.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah. So I'd like to start by asking you this question, although I've already started the premise for the conversation. The conversation today in Nigeria seems to revolve around 2027 general elections. And if you look at it, it sounds and looks as if the calendar Nigeria uses doesn't even have 2026 in it, because the conversation is all about 2027. Talk to me. What could have informed this heated debate, political space being heated more like we've never seen before?
Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you very much. It is customary in Nigeria that since the emergence of democratic dispensation, we discovered that 2 years to the election proper, the system tends to get heated, and politicians will begin to put their acts together. And sometimes not even the politicians, their followers. Their followers will start agitating for who occupies what and who is being returned for the second time. And invariably you see the politicians keying in. And for those in serving, for those in government, the elected, those elected, sometimes they are caught up in the euphoria of this agitation. That's right. And they also key in and begin to heat up the system. And before you discover, you realize that a year before the election proper, the system will be so chopped up, so heat up, and at certain point you discover that even the core essence of governance is abdicated. That's right. And they tend to abdicate it because of the pressure from their members, from their followers, and the focus become the next election, the election. It's as if the election is going to be the following day. This is really the tradition in our democratic dispensation, which shouldn't be. In developed world, it is not like that. You can still be in office until the very period when the election will be conducted, and at the same time reaching out and working, performing your constitutional duties as an elected person. But the system is not like that. Ours get heated far a year ahead of even the election proper, which has become a culture and tradition in our democratic dispensation.
I appreciate the fact that you made mention of developed countries. You know, theirs is a little bit distinct from what is being practiced here. For instance, Nigeria's democratic system is said to be fashioned after the similitude of that of the United States of America, which means, elective offices are just like a part-time job. You may have your job, your normal, usual job, but when it comes for plenary, you go and then finish what you're supposed to do in the house, or on the floor of the house, and return to your usual job. Now, the system in Nigeria, what do you make of it? It seems it is more lucrative than any other government job. And that's why a lot of young folks want to venture into politics, because they see that this is the easiest way to making money.
Yeah, unfortunately, in our own climate, it has become a career. Politicians have made politics a career, to the extent that you find young people agitating to occupy offices that actually they do not merit. This is because of the lucrative nature, the kind of glamour, the kind of ecstasy, the kind of value those in the system attached to it. You can imagine a councillor, or you are today with a friend, and eventually venture into politics. The next thing you see him riding on a very expensive car, living beyond his means, living a flamboyant life, and you begin to wonder. So the system, politics has become a career in this country, far far away from where we started. In the US, where we copied our system, it is not like that. It's simply call to service.
That's right.
Anybody who ventures into politics, he is into politics to serve the people meritoriously. They are after what people will say about them, what history will recall, will remember them of. But our system is, what are we going to accumulate? What kind of what? To the extent that even the downtrodden, if you are in politics today and you end your tenure without a single house, without a car, when you get back to your constituents, they begin to laugh at you. They make you a laughing stock, invariably, making the system kind of competitive, making the system highly corrupt, making the system in a manner that you first build yourself. You first build yourself before you begin to think about your constituents. But we give God the glory. There are a lot of imagined scenarios in governance today, particularly in Adamawa State. The situation is not like that with the governor of the state.
Oh, yes, changed the
he has
narrative.
a man that has changed the narrative completely. And so it is becoming more attractive now that you could agitate to occupy a political office and begin to think about what else can I do differently. But then how can I add value to what this man is doing? And I think if we go by that, the system will be far better for us, especially for those at the ground.
But do you think with what the governor of Adamawa State has been able to achieve and what he's trying to achieve the more will spark up a kind of a competition within the political space? That anyone who wants to vie for elective office will want to do much more than what the governor has done?
In fact, whoever is coming after Fintri is coming to wear an oversized shoe, because the man has created a narrative. He has redefined governance. He has redefined politics. He has redefined political representation. He has redefined what you should think to do than what the system should do for you.
That's right.
So whoever is coming after this man, he is coming to wear an excess shoe that if he does not take time, that shoe will continue to pull him to the extent that the system will even rise against him.
But how has the system fashioned the minds of Nigerians in terms of governance?
Well, it's just about accountability and responsiveness. Here is a system that came with a clear-cut blueprint that this is what I'm going to do, and it is my submission to you. It is my submission to you. And at the same time, he takes time to assess what he is doing or what he has done so far, thereby ensuring that there is value for money, ensuring that the needs of the people are met, and at the right time, and at all levels. So the system has actually redefined the system itself. In our own case, I think we should be. I think we have pace setters. Adamawa has suddenly become a pace setter in the northeast and by extension the country at large, and that is why at any given time the man is celebrated.
That's right.
All
right, let's broaden the conversation a little bit, looking at an overview of politics from the national level, trickle down to the sub-nationals. Politics in Nigeria is expensive, and you might agree.
Very.
For instance, now the form to vie for the office of a president goes for like 100 million, and governor maybe 50 million, and so on and so forth. And this indeed has widened the gap between the haves and the have-nots. So it becomes exclusively for those who are privileged to have the money to pay. How has that affected, the minds of those who may have been better, an alternative candidates to perform better than those who have had the money all this while?
Ironically, the system tends to give credence to even the misnomers. It tends to give credence to misnomers, and they are the ones that you must occupy an office. If you don't occupy an office, you cannot get the resources to really sustain or even participate actively in the system. The good hands are not there. Even if they are there, you must belong to a section. You must be a crony. If you are not a crony, you cannot enjoy any appointment. And for you to enjoy any appointment, you must be a crony. And once you enjoy that appointment, the next thing is you now begin to build up from what you earn, either through official means or through the back doors or what have you. So it is really unfortunate that same people have now made the system so expensive to the extent that if you are not corrupt, you cannot access the system. If you are not corrupt, you cannot afford to buy the picket form. If you are not corrupt, you cannot afford it, or you must have godfathers that will support you and encourage you.
So you think it's a deliberate creation?
It is, of course. It's
All right.
deliberate.
All right, let me allow you to ponder on this because we'll take a breather.
Thank you.
Before now, we used to have the upper class, middle class, and the lower class. But because of the contrast now in the journey of politics in Nigeria, it seems there is no longer the middle class in the country, only the upper class and the lower class. Now, how has this been able to subjugate the lower class, because they don't have a say, except otherwise what is thrown at them? I'd like you to ponder on this. We'll come back from this short time out to talk some more.
Thank you.
All right, you're watching Political Affairs on Camera TV. We'll take a short break. We'll be back in a moment. And for those of you following the conversation on YouTube Live and on our Facebook page, I need you to send your comment, suggestions, and even questions to the comment section. Hopefully, Zare Baba will respond to some of your questions and aspirations. To join us again. Glad to know you're still there, but if you're just joining us, you're watching Political Affairs on Karma TV. I've been speaking with Baba Zare. He is the Zonal Vice President Northeast of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, and he has been in the profession for more than 2 decades. All right, before the break, I ask you, perhaps it's an analogy whereby we used to have the upper class, middle class, and the lower class, but somehow, by deliberate creation of these politicians, we no longer have the middle class. It's only the upper class and the lower class. And by that, those in the lower class have been subjugated by certain policies coming from those who are occupying these elective offices. How bad do you think that is?
It's terribly bad. Because the gap has continued to widen by the day. In virtually every session, at any given dispensation, the gap keeps widening. At a certain point, we thought this government was coming to change the narratives, to close the gaps. Because Tinubu cried so much, he talked so much about the poverty level, and he gave a lot of hopes. And by that, he introduced the Renew Hope agenda, which to my mind, it may be working. It might not also be working. If you look at what is happening across the country, the poor are getting poorer, and the rich are getting richer, and above all, you hardly can find a middle class. So it means we are still dwindling. We are still dwindling. Today, you hardly can find someone from the bottom that can, even in running his own business, you must be, you must deploy a lot of ingenuity for you to really break even. And the policy has not helped really matters. For instance, the withdrawal of the fuel subsidy. It came as a redemption decision. But unfortunately, it's the beneficiaries are the upper class, and those who are suffering it are the lower class.
And they're still suffering it today.
They are still
some
suffering
haven't
it.
recovered
There seems not to be even any solution. So it keeps widening by the day. I am imagining a kind of system, a system that will ever come and really bridge the gaps. That this time around, the struggle, the movement, the economy move to the grassroots. That people begin to move to the grassroots. Now, acquire whatever they want and come to the city to make life meaningful.
That's right.
But in this case, even the grassroots are finding it difficult to even come to the city. At the local level, the local government councils are not even helping matters.
Yeah, but there has been these kudos and encomiums poured on Mr. President when he emphatically said local government should be autonomous. And the development should begin from the grassroots. Isn't that commendable? The policy of Mr. President as regard to giving the local council autonomy.
Well, but at first it sounded commendable. But it wasn't realistic. It wasn't realistic.
But the president said the governors are the one frustrating the actualization of it.
How can you be a president and the governors who frustrate the actualization of an order that you signed as a result of a rule, as a result of a court judgment? There was a court judgment, mind you.
There was a court judgment.
And enforcement of judgment, this judgment became a problem. Is it beyond the president to really insist that this thing should be practical? Is it really beyond him? Enforcing the decision of the court, is it beyond the president? He owns the house. Is it beyond him?
Well, maybe he doesn't want to so much interfere because the judiciary should also be independent.
Maybe we'll look at it from this perspective. Maybe it becomes a moral issue. Perhaps that is why some governors quickly implemented it. For us in Adamawa, you saw what happened. Even before the pronouncement of the judgment, the autonomy was implemented. But it is not like that in other states. So it becomes a moral issue. It's not beyond the president. Enforcement must be seen to be enforced.
All right. Well, let's go a little bit further. What do you make of the signing of the electoral law by Mr. President? But even before that, there has been this back and forth by the senators and those on the floor of the House, just a kind of a pullback factor. Is it that there's this fear of the uncertainty regarding electronic transmission of result, by those senators or what?
Well, beyond that, I think the signing of the electoral bill by the president was too hasty.
Too hasty?
Yeah.
While some are giving him kudos.
It was too hasty because he should have read through all the clauses and understand the clause that is in contention.
That's right. That is the electronic transmission.
The real transmission, on the spot transmission.
In real time.
Yeah, the real time transmission. But he signed it hastily. Be it as it may, substantially, the agitation of greater Nigerians have been achieved. Except for the fact that there are still clauses. Because you will need to read in depth into the electoral act for you to understand the nitty-gritty of the provision. The hula bula was simply on the real transmission of election results. But there are some clauses that are so draconian to the system, which requires people to really take time, study them. You can imagine what happened at the just concluded FCT election.
Yeah.
Was the result actually transmitted real time?
It wasn't.
That you could have a minister of the federal government telling you to just go do your role and allow me the rest. Allow me to do the rest. And you saw what happened. Till this hour, people are still shouting.
Yeah.
People are still shouting.
It was characterized by irregularities.
A lot of irregularities. There is delay in arrival of the voting materials. There is also voter apathy. And a whole lot of irregularities. So the Electoral Act has not actually dealt with the issue of voter turnout and apathy.
Yeah.
In the event where there is voter apathy, what else do we do? Do we just fill the blanks and just announce results? To what extent would that give the system the desired credence? Okay. So these are some of the nitty-gritties. There are some silent issues in the Electoral Act that should have been dealt with decisively before even signing the Electoral Act.
All right. There is this pressing issue, about politicians and political party, and that has to do with defection. Political parties ordinarily should have ideology. But what do you make of, like in recent times, we've seen series of defections, particularly state governors defecting to the ruling All Progressive Congress. Are you worried that perhaps somehow Nigeria could navigate into one-party system?
I am indeed very, very worried. Worried in the sense that the system seems to be seriously weaponized. And that if you don't belong to the ruling party, as a governor or as a politician of note, or even as a senator, you stand not to benefit or attract any federal presence to your community or constituents.
But is it how it's supposed to be?
This is not how it's supposed to be. That is why I'm saying that the system weaponized all these things. So, if it makes also the defection attractive. Look at what is happening in Taraba. When last did you hear of a single capital federal project in Taraba State? But as soon as the governor defected, we started seeing movement of vehicles, construction vehicles coming to address major roads that have been dead traps for over 30 years.
But what do you also make of the rumors making the rounds that Governor Fintiri is set to defect to the APC, even after the massive infrastructural development we've seen in Adamawa?
In fact, he is the darling. He is being sought for. He is being celebrated. It's in essence celebrating the man, Governor Fintiri. He is attracted to them because of the works he has done.
So he's the one they sought for him and not him seeking for
him.
To
my mind, Fintiri is being sought of. Maybe to use him to legitimize certain policies of government. You can imagine even when the president came, of all the projects, including state and federal projects, they were all constructed by the governor. The president didn't commission a single federal project deliberately executed by the president and commissioned by the president. The governor executed state projects, including federal roads, including federal institutions, and a whole lot of. He invariably succeeded in showcasing the federal government, much more than the federal government should showcase itself. So Governor Fintiri is just the darling. He is just being sought for, and he has no option.
Just like in a local palace, they say better soup than
money killer.
So the federal government has seen a better soup.
A better soup, and
well, there's no better way to end this conversation than now. Baba Zare, Zonal Vice President, NUJ Northeast. Thank you so very much for finding time to come on Political Affairs today.
Thank you so much, sir.
This is just a part one of the conversation. We'll definitely have a part two of it to build up, because there's more to talk about. But for time constraints, we just have to hold the conversation for now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much. Indeed. Thank you so much. And I want to commend Kama, because in NUJ we are encouraging members to venture into organizations like this, because it is through this process that we can check misinformation, disinformation, and at the same time take control of professionalism in our own space.
That's right.
We should not allow street journalists to take over our job.
That's right.
And that is why I want to commend Kama and encourage my colleagues elsewhere to venture into some of these things, so that they should own blogs, they should own stations like this. So that we will be seen to be expanding the journalism space in Adamawa State and beyond.
Indeed. There's no better person to give this advice than you, because you've been in this profession for almost 3 decades and still counting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Alright viewers, that's our show for today. Thank you so very much for being with us from start to finish. Join us again same time, same station as we come with a fresh edition of the program. Until then, stay safe. My name is Chris Jacobs. God bless Nigeria. And for those who are watching on our YouTube page and Facebook page, thank you very much for following the conversation. Send your comments, send your suggestions, questions to the comment sections. Hopefully we'll respond back to you soonest. God bless you.
Thank you.